Literacy Initiative, a not-for-profit organization that provides information communications technology awareness and works to ensure a safe digital space in Uganda and Africa as a whole. So I'm a digital skills trainer and a certified international computer driving license trainer from ICDL Africa. So I'll be your moderator for this webinar with the title, The Role of the Multi-Stakeholder Model in Promoting a Safer Internet in Uganda. Safer Internet Day is an annual celebration observed in over 170 countries, and it takes place on the 9th February every year. This day seeks to promote a safe and positive use of digital technology for children and young people, but also inspire a national conversation. This year's theme is Together for a Better Internet. Therefore, we are part of the internet community that comes together for a better internet, raising awareness of the online issues that really matter to us as the users or people who really engage online. So being your moderator, I've got a team of panelists with me to give us a great discussion, and we are able to learn from them. Housekeeping rules, number one, if you're not speaking, please mute yourself, and also you can take off your video for a while. But again, you can post your questions in the chat room, and then we will be able to respond to them during the discussion. Thank you. Our first panelist is known to be as Ida Bukubuza. Ida is a co-founder and a lead of Idea Gender and Technology Initiative in Uganda, an organization delivering information, communication, and technology solutions for development by building innovative tools to enable youth and women use technology to improve service delivery and attain global goals. Ida is also a co-founder and a programs manager at Venice Women, an organization advocating for rights to end violence against women and girls. Ida holds a bachelor's degree in information technology from Makerere University, Uganda, a certified business and entrepreneurship from Northwestern University Kellogg School of Management in Chicago, United States of America. Ida is also an alumnus of the former President Obama's Mandela Washington Fellowship in the US, and she's also a Regional Leadership Center Young African Leadership Initiative of Nairobi, Kenya. Please join hands to welcome Ida on board as our #1 panelist.
Oh, thank you very much, Joanne. I am pleased to be here and very humbled. It's a very cool morning here, and I thank you once again and welcome all our participants to this safe internet space. I hope it is safe for us as we, collaborate and have this conversation online. So internet is an enabler. We should be grateful like we are connecting already because there is an enabling environment or a medium, which is internet.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ida. Again, back to you with question 1. What does it mean when you talk about a safer internet for Idea Tech and Gender Initiative?
Well, first of all, I just want to, go back a little bit from what you just shared with us as the year's theme. And I'm grateful and glad there is a day and time that, stresses and commemorates the issue about safer internet. We often speak about internet as a whole, but the element that talks about safety is very key to make sure it is conducive and, inclusive for us all. So when you ask me, or if we have a conversation in regard to what does it mean when one talks about a safer internet, and for us with Idea Agenda, as you explained earlier, it comes down to gender inclusivity. A safer internet has to have inclusive space, or a point where we are able to, as women, because I do advocate for more women participation in such spaces, especially digital spaces. So inclusivity is one of the definitions that I would share. Then also conducive environment where people are being acceptable, accommodated, and also, which is key and mainly for me, it comes down to private, safe space, just to borrow your words, Joanne. So a safer internet in today's changing world of work has to have those elements for me, and highlight goes down to a private, safe space where people are able to, deliberately and have right to digitally collaborate, enjoy these global platforms and tools without intimidation or harassment in whatsoever way. So that is what it would mean for me when you talk about a safer internet. And when it comes to our model and vision as Idea Agenda and Technology Initiative, we do advocate for promotion of inclusive technology, where we want to make sure more women and girls given a right harness their potential without threat or discrimination and fear using these online tools and platforms. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ida, for that definition of what it means for a safer internet. I like it when you actually tell us that you really work towards the gender inclusivity, but also a conducive environment for women and girls across the board. Our second panelist that we have on board is known to be Patricia Nyasuna. She's currently a program officer under the Gender and ICT Policy Advocacy Program at Women of Uganda Network, known as WOGNET. Patricia has participated in various advocacy initiatives and publications in Uganda, including Gender Responsiveness of ICT Innovations, the Web Foundation Women's Rights Online Campaign, and the role of new media in women's rights. Patricia has 5 years working experience in the ICT, specifically in relation to gender and women's rights. She has acquired specialized training in gender data, women's rights to information, women in business management, and internal governance. She is also a Tech Change alumni and Women in Business Mentee alumni of the Cherie Blair Foundation. Patricia also holds a bachelor's degree in arts, of arts in social sciences, where she has majored in gender and minored in psychology from Makerere University in Uganda. Patricia, a question for you. What does it mean when you talk about a safer internet as WOGNET? Thank you.
So good morning to you all. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from. I'm very happy to be part of this panel. I'm happy to represent WOGNET, and I appreciate so much the work of different stakeholders in making sure that we are able to sit together in this space and be able to talk about different things concerning the internet. So maybe I would like to just say one thing that probably Joanne had left out. WOGNET is a women's rights organization that empowers women to use ICTs for sustainable development. And we have been in existence since the year 2000. So we are 20 years old and we are still going forward in empowering women in rural communities, in urban, peri-urban, talk about every type of woman. So when I go back to Joanne's question about a safer internet and what it implies to me and to WOGNET. So for WOGNET, it has always been something about a life that is about you yourself. You start as an individual. When we look at the internet, it connects us worldwide to different networks and to be able to work together towards different causes. However, we go back and draw back to me, myself as Patricia, as an individual, because it begins with me to create an environment that is safe, an environment that allows interaction for different people. So I would go back to me as an individual when I am a person in my home, probably. When I enter my own house, it is supposed to be a place that gives me relaxation, a place where I can invite anyone that I want to talk to, a place where I restrict whatever I want or whatever I do not want, a place that I am not supposed to be scared to be at, a place that gives me peace, a place that grooms me, a place that grows me. So when I go to a safer internet, that is what we look at as WoopNet. Does it build me? Does it groom me? Am I free to share anything I want to share without being scared? Do I care about putting a padlock on my door or just closing my door and being at home and feel free and feel safe and be happy? So that is what a safer internet is. It's supposed to bring out the happiness within you, satisfaction, make you feel that you're able to share and you're also able to receive. Thank you so much, Joanne.
Thank you so much, Patricia, for that highlight. You know, being able to use the internet without the fear, so that takes us to privacy, you know, and also the internet being able to build you, but also grow you while you work with it. And I want to thank you for that. So let's now go to our third panelist, and our third panelist is Lilian Nalwoga. Lilian is a former president of the Internet Society Uganda chapter and also works as a programs manager at the Collaboration of International ICT Policy in East and Southern Africa, that is PESA. Lilian is a technology enthusiast and she is actively involved in ICT policy debates at the local, regional, and global level through her key role as a coordinator of the Uganda and East African Internet Governance Forum. Lilian has also served on the MAG, the Multi-Stakeholder Advisory Group of the Global Internet Governance Forum from 2012 to 2014. But she has also got first-hand knowledge and experience in making ICT projects and conducting ICT research. Lilian is passionate about linking public policy and the internet, as well as promoting and advancing the appropriate use of ICT for development. Lilian, my question to you, what does it mean when you talk about a safer internet from an ISOC perspective? Thank you.
Joanne, I'll briefly put on my video and then take it off. Yeah, let's see. Good morning, everyone. My name's, of course, you've heard from Lilian. I'm happy to be part of this conversation. And before I go to respond to your question, Joanne and the rest of our participants, I would like, first of all, to thank you, Joanne, for taking steps to recognize this day, to commemorate this day. For our participants and followers, for those who may not be aware that the Internet Society does host the Safer Internet Day Committee in Uganda. This we've been doing it since 2015. And as the Internet Society, we've been hosting and supporting different initiatives to commemorate this day. So in line with the theme today, I'll put off my video. In line with the theme today of Together for a Better Internet, when we talk about, when you ask what is a safer internet to me, for me, it's an internet that you can trust. And before you can think of something being safe, the first keyword is trust. Do you trust this thing, this one thing? Because without trust, you cannot have the safety that you long for. So for me, a safer internet begins with trust. As the Internet Society, we believe that internet should be, of course, safe, secure, and of course, trustworthy. So the keyword here should be trust. Do I trust me logging into Zoom, you know, to access this information, or to listen to these people? I don't know where my recordings are going to be after this call. When I go on Facebook, on Twitter, when I open my email, do I trust Google to store all my information, all this information we post on, you know, in the cloud? Do we trust it? So that is, for me, the key element of safety. Trust is the most important thing. Before you think about trust, you cannot feel safe. So I think, Joanne, I will not say too much because the answer is very straightforward. Before you think about safety, you need to first build trust. And in that trust, that is when you start talking about issues, you know, of safety. If young children if we as parents or educators or caretakers, we cannot feel safe, I mean, we do not have trust in the systems, how can we tell others to use them? If we people who are working around promoting, you know, women rights online, bringing more people to connect, making safer places for women, if they do not trust that you're going to protect their data, you're going to protect their information, they will not feel safe. If they don't trust that the computer is not going to go off or someone is going to steal their computer, they will not feel safe. So the key element to me, a safer internet, it is trust. Thank you, Joanne.
Thank you so much, Lillian, for the well elaboration of what it means of a safer internet. And indeed, trust is a key issue globally across, you know, the internet usage of how and when our data is moving out, to whom do they actually ask when they actually are taking out for more usage, because there've been a lot of, you know, apps here and there that are doing a lot of data mining, but then the issue of trust is still an issue for the internet, even while they work with this data. Now I'll go to our panelist, number 4, and that is Assia Kamkama. Assia is a founder and executive director of the Maendeleo Foundation. This is an NGO based in Uganda that promotes access to quality and equitable education and skills. She is a development economist by trade. Assia has shared her passion, knowledge, and skills for literacy, information access, technology, innovation, and community development with international audiences across Africa, America, Europe, and the Middle East. Since 2007, Assia has been actively involved in building Maendeleo Foundation to change the lives of Ugandan children, women, and young people through designing innovative and sustainable projects in basic literacy, digital literacy, women empowerment, and skills development. Assia holds a bachelor's degree in development economics from Makerere University, Kampala, Uganda. Assia, my first question, of course, would be, what does it mean when you talk about a safer internet for Maendeleo Foundation? Thank you.
Thank you, Joan, and thank you for the invite to share with you and to listen to all these engaging thoughts about the internet. As a teacher, well, I've been training since 2007. And one of the things that I'm very passionate about, allow me to take off my video so that we can be clearer. One of the things that I'm really passionate about is getting people to understand the power of technology. And one of the things that makes technology so powerful is the internet. And as we teach children and young people about this powerful tool, the internet, we envision a place that opens up their boundaries to collaborate with others freely, but in an empowering way. A place that is positive and engaging, where they feel connected, respected, they're able to learn and thrive. Anything that doesn't go with that for me is not safe for our children and for our young people, and the whole purpose of its power just gets, you know, flushed out of the drain. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Asia, for that elaborate, answer about what it means for a safer internet for our children now that they are back online with education getting online, using these e-learning systems, and so which means we must ensure they are safe while adopting to the open distance learning and the e-learning platform. Our fourth panelist, of course, in the house is the one and only Sebagala Hakim. Hakim is an engineer by profession. Hakim is also a programs director at Smart Youth Network. Smart Youth Network Initiative is a youth network focused on the promotion of socio-economic development, environmental justice, and technological progress towards a prosperous Africa. Since its initiation in 2017, Smart Youth Network Initiative has engaged in various campaigns and projects in the different parts of the country to help the youth adopt and evolve so that they can benefit communities and society. The organization aims to building capacity of youth to effectively participate in contributing to sustainable development through implementation of solutions in education, digitalization, and climate change. Hakim, what does it mean to you when you talk about a safer internet as Smart Youth Network? Over to you.
Well, thank you, Joanne, for that brief and interesting introduction. It really caught my heart when you mentioned that I'm an engineer and as well as a programs director at Smart Youth Network Initiatives. It's an honor to always be on a panel which you moderate. Now, to me, when we talk about safety on the internet, being safe on the internet means that individuals are protecting themselves and others from online harms and risks, which may jeopardize their personal information, lead to unsafe communication, or even affect their mental health and well-being to one way or the other. You realize that we are in an environment whereby the internet is of usage to so many of us. So, and we post, for example, on different social media platforms, that is Facebook, Twitter. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, Hakim.
Yeah, now our safety as we are using these platforms means a lot to us. Increased, that is across the globe, and inspired to use the internet. But as these inspirations and motivations are forthgoing, how safe are we as we are using the internet? As parents, when you give it a thought, how safe are we as our children and as our young ones have now gotten to use the internet, right? Do we have the time to for example, monitor them as they're using the internet? So to me, the risk of using the internet or the safety of using the internet means a lot. It goes beyond individuals to families, to organizations and various entities, right? So to me, Joanne, that's how I would idealize the idea of being safe on the internet. That is, how safe are we on whatever we post? How safe are we on the transactions we make? Because many times, especially we saw it during COVID-19, where purchases were online. So how safe are we against scams? How safe are we against malwares? Are people aware of these things? So to me, that is a safer internet. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Hakim. From your discussion, one key word to take away is safety on the internet. Thank you. Back to you. Back to you, Ida Bukubuza from Idea Tech and Gender Initiative. According to this year's theme, as Lillian highlighted, Together for a Better Internet, what do you think can be done to make sure the internet security for women and girls is accorded its importance towards gender equality and development?
First of all, thank you very much, Joanne. And I love the fact when we talk about a safer internet towards women's development. Keywords for me are women's development. So I would like to first highlight something to do with when it comes to digital solutions or, many technology adoptive solutions. They have always been treated as private goods for so long. But I love the fact that whereas we are suffering with the COVID-19 pandemic, it has as well given us room and time to appreciate the role of internet, especially now in today's changing world of work, today's changing world where we are dependent on internet to make sure, we are studying, we are literally having a meeting online. So it has accorded it its huge, huge importance so that people can really give it priority and stop treating it as a private good, but rather a necessity. So going back to your question about, just give me a second. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, my network was acting up, but I think I'm fine. So I was saying we need to highlight the fact that internet in its sense should be accorded its importance and should be policymakers and everyone that is into the internet provision line should stop treating it as a private good, but rather a necessity because it is the way forward. So back to your question, Joanne, you asked if, you were asking what do we think that can be done to make sure that internet security for women and girls is accorded its importance towards gender equality and development. First of all, the conversations that we are having right now, online building movements that help women talk about issues that affect them towards development. I would say my number two, normalizing, because oftentimes we've seen research and too many and many data, postings everywhere where women are threatened to fully participate and harness their potential when it comes to online participation and online use. So what should be done from a perspective of idea gender, where women participation is a threat and it is treated as a joke in many lines? Then we should also talk about normalizing punishment for online or cyber harassers and abusers as well. So in this sense, I do believe that when there is no more punishment, beyond just having conversations where there is me, just Lillian, and the other small category that advocates for probably internet and digital safety and digital advocacy, but to take it to a wider range of level that it is in, like policy offices and these particular organs that determine punishment to all harassers and abusers that threaten women's full participation into use of online and digital platforms and spaces and tools. And lastly, I would want to say something on digital, having to make sure that we keep sharing stories. We normalize sharing good internet stories, how people meet online, how people have collaborated online. Hello?
Yes,
Joanne?
You can go on, Ida. We are listening to you.
Okay, I was saying lastly in this regard, we should normalize talking about the full stories that, give good feedback so that people know that actually internet is just beyond social behavior. But there is research that can be done on internet. There is a lot of knowledge where people can full and, harness their full potential in these particular spaces and on these particular devices. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ida, for that elaborate, discussion. And one key that I actually took, bringing, people to book, those that are really involved in cyber harassment and all those vices that come in a way of pushing off women from the internet. Yet we need women to be part of the internet and also the girls. Now,
lastly, hello, Joan.
Yes, Ida.
Just one more, give me 10 seconds. On the highlight about, when you talk about the gender equality in these particular spaces, to, examine all innovations or even decisions when there is anything that is being passed in around digital advocacy, we should examine such, discussions and conversations with a gender lens so that women feel at peace in a very space where they do relate with people of the same gender, to make sure they can speak of things that are relatable and relevant in these kinds of spaces. For me, that is what it means together for a better internet. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ida, for that elaborate discussion onto the question. Back to you, Patricia Nyasuna from WOOGNET. WOOGNET works closely with women in rural areas. However, statistics reveal that majority of these women are less likely to use the internet. How do we ensure no woman is left out? Back to you, Patricia.
Thank you so much, Joanne. Thank you, Ida, as well. You have really brought some issues that still are going to be able to bring a wider understanding to what I am going to talk about. So for years, we've been working with women in rural areas. And one of the key things that we have realized over the years was the evolving trends of technology. When we began, I hope you can all hear me.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
okay.
Patricia.
Okay, please. So when WOOGNET began as an organization, what we were doing basically was to get the women to understand what technology alone is. That is 20 years ago. Understanding what ICTs are, knowing how to, for example, send an email. How do I type this? How do I communicate with another person? But today, technology has really evolved to a point that there are so many new things. Today, we are here speaking about a safer internet. Probably it's not something that was looked at in the time before. So when we come back to looking at the rural women, there are so many challenges that they face. For example, one of them is the affordability of these tools alone to be able to use the internet, to be able to get online. Then even those that have them have issues of failing to probably buy data bundles, probably failing to maintain these devices. There are also issues of illiteracy or low education. The internet offers us a lot of information. And when someone is not probably in the right, if someone is not able to know what exactly they want to get from the internet, one may be able to get even content that may not be relevant to what exactly they want. So this becomes a challenge for most of these women in rural areas. When you have discussions with them about the internet, what do you use the internet for? They say, when you get there, there are so many other things. So you start laughing about this, it diverts the attention. So there's an issue of the content itself, what type of content. And because of the low education levels, there is also a problem of just the usability, the digital literacy skills, being able to use a machine to do different things, and also being able to know the dynamics that come about with the internet. Then another issue that we've been able to see during these lines is the gender issues that come up as a result of unequal power relations. Starting from the homes at household levels, there will always be interactions with rural women and girls, and they will tell you how, it's difficult for me to even use the internet because of the perception of my husband, of my partner, of my father. What will they think? So these things affect their mindset, and even if they may have the access or the ability to be able to use these tools, their mindset is already blurred to that area. So she is limited in that way. The confidence isn't there to be able to take up the opportunities that the internet offers to women and girls. So there is also another issue of online GBV, or tech-related violence against women and girls online. When you speak to a rural woman, it may be difficult for her to actualize some of these things, but the more they have taken up the internet and been able to use the internet for different issues, they've faced certain issues. But because of being in the rural environment, and also they are limited by certain economic situations that limit their economic power, she may have to prioritize. So she will say, why do I have to buy OTT to get onto Facebook or to get onto WhatsApp to do this? Yet someone may end up abusing me while I'm trying to do that. So with the evolving trends, there has been, for example, transactions online, they are trying to cope. However, it is still difficult because of all these issues I have mentioned. So what is the way forward? What do we have to do? Today, we are looking at multi-stakeholder model. So meaning all of us have one or two ways that we can contribute, or one or two ways to make sure that women are not left behind. One of them as civil society. Today, I'm very happy that Joanne, you brought all of us here to be able to share issues. Civil society has a key role to play, especially in building digital literacy, in bringing together women and girls, being able to empower them to use these tools, not only share knowledge and experiences. The way Ida has spoken about the importance of sharing knowledge and experience, it is very key in enabling them be able to take up technologies and be able to use ICTs. As civil society, we can continue to create awareness. We at individual level have different roles to play. Let it always start with you, that you're able to empower, teach, enable another woman to be able to get online. The government has a lot to play, bringing different stakeholders together, and also being able to help women be able to be economically empowered so that they are able to use these tools and they are able to approach different issues that would contribute to sustainable development. Thank you so much, Joanne.
Thank you so much, Patricia. Okello, please mute yourself. Okello Emmanuel.
Yes, please.
Mute yourself kindly. Oh, thank you so much, Patricia, for that elaborate discussion. And in your discussion, you've highlighted a number of issues that are really affecting women. So even as you speak about a safer internet, when we still have issues of affordability, usability, how are you then going to explain to them on how to access the system securely with, passwords and all encryption that comes with it? And then issues of online gender-based violence or the tech-assisted violence. These have really, really pushed more women off the internet. To them, meaning the internet now is not a safe place to be. Thank you so much, Patricia. Now that brings me to another question that goes to Lillian Naruoga. Do you think the various stakeholders are playing their role in promoting a safer internet? And even then, what are those key risks that, our internet users are facing around the globe, and especially right here in Uganda? Thank you.
Thanks, Joanne. I don't know if, is my sound okay? There's a bit of some background noise.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Thanks for the question. I think for me, in terms of whether various stakeholders are playing their role, I think they are. I mean, when you look at the multi-stakeholder model, where you have the private key players or the private sector. In this, we are looking at telecoms, we are looking at ISPs, we are looking at, technologists and all, they are playing their role. in terms of maybe designing secure technology, or if in terms of, ensuring that our data is being protected, they are playing some minimal role. If you look at the aspect of, say, policymakers, and this is government, there's a relevant policy when it comes to safety. But when it comes to the civil society, like ourselves, we are doing our role in creating awareness and ensuring that, our safety is being adhered to. But the question is, when it comes to users, when we talk about my stakeholder, at times we tend to, we as the users of technology in this also internet, we step away and we try to point fingers. So we need to look at ourselves as users. What role are we playing? Can we play more role? If you step away from your role as a civil society advocate, as a woman advocate, as a child, advocate, or a technology advocate, you become a user. What role can you play? So I think we are playing roles, but to a minimal level. We know that technology evolves every day. By the time a new policy comes up, something has already stepped up. Right now, we are talking about artificial intelligence. We are talking about machine learning. Automation is everywhere. So issues of safety, especially in terms of privacy and data protection, are at a higher, higher level, at a higher ladder of importance. Where do we as users, where do we place ourselves in this conversation or in this aspect? So I think we need to look at the whole issue of safety online in a manner of it is shared responsibility. We cannot leave it to one party. We cannot leave it to government. We cannot leave it to the civil society. We cannot leave it to the technology firms. We cannot leave it to ISPs. We cannot leave it to individuals. Everyone has a role to play, whether it is creating awareness, whether it's building capacity. Like I appreciate the work that your initiative is doing, what IDA is doing, what Women of Uganda Network is doing, and everyone that is there. But we need to do more, that we do not stop at just educating. We also build the individuals to know that they should not wait for someone to come and tell them how to be safe. Because our lives, we know that, the rights that we enjoy offline and online are the same. So when you say that you cannot open for a stranger who comes and knocks at your gate, how easy is it for you to open for, to just allow access to someone, on your Facebook, allow friend request, or Twitter or WhatsApp and start chatting? These are the things that we talk about. So when it comes to my stakeholder level, I think it is shared responsibility. And when it's shared responsibility, the other question, although I can't, Joan, what was the other question?
The other question was some of those risks that are
the risks, yes. I think the risks that are there when it comes to safety, of course, is the safety itself. Hold on. Yes, the risks that are there is about privacy, security, privacy and data protection, There's one is when I go into, remember when I spoke earlier on, I mentioned the issue of trust. If you do not have trust in a system, you will not be able to use it. Even if you use it, for most of the initiatives that are going, connecting say rural communities, or, the most at risk, or people who, at risk is a bit, a big word, but, people who are trying to bring online, the biggest issue is the lack of trust. I have a story that I heard of during the internet shutdown. There was a gentleman who had a kiosk and he had bought a smartphone. However, he wanted to use the smartphone, and When he heard of the shutdown, he felt the gadget was useless. So for him, it was about using the smartphone. You know, for him, he was getting on WhatsApp, and to him, WhatsApp was being on the internet, which is to a fact true. So when someone does not have trust in the gadget, they'll not use it, and they will tell everyone in their family, on their household, that this gadget, I cannot trust. Now the internet has been shut down, and now I'll not be able to use this gadget. I don't know who's going to listen in. So there is the problem. Then the other issue would be, of course, data protection and privacy. I've talked about that. And the other risk, I think, what initiatives, Joe, and what you're doing, creating advocacy about ICT, is about the lack of the relevant skills. The digital skills is a big risk. There's knowing that, yes, I can buy a smartphone and connect to the internet, but then so many people in Uganda do not have the necessary digital skills to be able to fully understand these things. And digital skills is quite, is quite broader topic. It comes from, accessibility. It comes from, understanding the issues comprehensively, in terms of talking even about security is a digital awareness issue. So I think those are some of the risks that we can think about when we are talking about, safety, that the digital skill level is still too low, right? From understanding, press this button, how do I use this, to, understand that I cannot just share my password with everyone. I cannot have a password that is my birthday, or, creating a safe password. So it is, I think for me, the biggest risk is that digital literacy.
Thank you so much, Lillian, for that elaborate, discussion as regards to the role of stakeholders. My key takeaway, of course, is that safety online is a shared responsibility. So whether you're a teacher, a doctor, whoever you are, it starts with you to ensure this internet is safe, on how you actually keep navigating it. And of course, she highlights issues of risks of privacy and data protection, which are trending lately, security, but also number 3, the lack of relevant digital skills. Of course, now that brings me to a question that goes to Asia Kamukama from Maendeleo Foundation. How can educators ensure that learners acquire the necessary digital skills and knowledge to promote a safer internet in wherever they are in their communities? Over to you, Asia.
Thank you, Joan, and thank you, Lillian. I really liked your closing remark that the biggest risk that we have in this country is lack of digital skills. Most times when I own a smartphone or I have access to the internet on my laptop, I feel that I know my way around. After all, I went to school, but most times when you look at what people do with these gadgets, you keep asking yourself, okay, is this person as learned as they think they are? Because, someone, I'm sure all of you have experienced when somebody sends you weird messages on WhatsApp, they send them to your Facebook, any platform they can find you, and they are sharing this information as if they are being paid to do it. And you wonder, okay, somebody in their right minds, how do they start, promoting things like drugs, pornography, cyberbullying? And as we see, one of the biggest trends now of misinformation is actually a matter of lack of digital skills. Because as much as some people learned, and now I'm just talking about the ones that are learned, but we have a high percentage of Ugandans that are illiterate. Yeah? And so they cannot analyze information. They can't, be able to judge whether this information that I'm spreading like wildfire, is it information that is necessary? What is the impact it's going to have on the people that I'm sending it to? Yeah, that among so many things that are happening right now that I think also led to, shutdown of the internet is just the misinformation trend, which I think I trace back to lack of digital skills. And as educators, I think this is something that we need to pay attention to. Of course, like Lydian said, this is not something that you can take on as one individual, one organization. All of us have to come together and make sure that whatever levels of education our people have, wherever they are found, whether in rural areas or towns or in their shops, we need to make sure that they have the right skills to navigate around the internet and be able to fully benefit from technology. I think also the other trend that I'm really seeing is a failure of online businesses in Uganda. As much as many of them are reaping from that opportunity, others are not utilizing it well because they're taking their bad manners to the internet, Yet, some of them you'll find that if you went and bought something from their shops, they are different people, yeah? They will treat you with better customer care. They'll give you the right product because you're seeing it and you're touching it and you're able to select from it, yeah? But because this is something new to them, they don't know that if I decide to sell my skill, which is teaching online, I must be ethical. I must be true to what I say. I shouldn't sell what I don't have. I shouldn't, market the wrong service or misguide people the way I would do it in my physical training center. Yeah, and I think all that is lack of digital skills. We need to pay a lot of attention to that area because it's really going to limit how Ugandans tap into the opportunities that come with the internet, yeah? And then also, of course, like for example, this webinar that we are having, I invited some teachers from some of the schools, yeah? And I've been trying to help some of them connect. They cannot hear anything. And it's just a simple click of a button somewhere, but simply because they don't have the right skill to do that, they are missing out from this powerful engagement. And among the things that we need to pay attention to, now that the internet is here to stay, we used to preach to people about the power of the internet and people were like, but there is barely internet access in Uganda, If I can do this physically, why do I need the internet? But I think COVID-19 has showed everybody that it is important that you know how to use the internet. So as this is something that we are going to carry into the future, we need to deliberately include training modules in whatever digital skilling that we do that build people's knowledge about internet safety and privacy, online hygiene. We don't want to see more people carrying their bad manners to social media because it gives them a chance to be themselves. And that themselves is, promoting pornography, talking to people like, yeah, they own them, stuff like that. It is critical that people need to learn about online hygiene. And of course, misinformation is now a very big challenge, not just to Uganda, but to many countries. And it needs to be thought about in those digital skills training programs. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Asia, for that upspeed discussion. And of course, key points, we need to have the best of the best in terms of relevant digital skills. So it is up to us as civil society, as we speak of the multi-stakeholder model, to change this narrative. And again, back to you, Hakeem Sebagala. how can the youth be equipped with the knowledge about the safety of the internet as smart youth?
Thank you very much, Joan, for that inciting question. The question basically, I think, has two major parts. That is the youths and their safety on the internet. Well, safety on the internet, I would basically define it as the act of staying safe online, right? Now, how can the youth be equipped with the knowledge about safety for the internet? We must go an extra mile to encourage young people to attend such engagements so as to boost their knowledge about internet safety. That is to say, being more careful on what they download while online, being very careful on the different sites where they make these online purchases, among others, and also encouraging them to visit secure sites. Such engagements may be in the future, right? We need to attract more young people so that they can benefit from them. Because according to the pre-current speakers, they've shared with us a lot of information and a lot of knowledge that does not only concern us in here, but concerns all young people, not only in Uganda, but Africa and the world at large. So in the future, I encourage us all to attract and invite so many young people in such engagements. Such engagements should also be made more practical and teach young people about online content. That is privacy settings, personal information, among others. I think it was Patricia who talked about digital literacy, right? This is something that is really very, very important. And it should be highly emphasized to ensure that young people get to know what to post, on what grounds and when, right? Then as I conclude, young people in such engagements, and if at all we make them more practical, we should encourage them to keep personal information professional and limited. Keep their privacy settings on as many times when they're using the internet. Choose strong passwords, because when we talk about safety on the internet, we think about hackers, right? Who is going to hack, right? Who is going to scam you? So they should always choose safer and strong passwords when accessing the online platforms, right? Encourage young people to carry out safe browsing. Choose strong passwords, make online purchases from secure sites, right? So that they cannot be scammed, so that they cannot be fooled while on the internet. And then also, we should think about the future right from our homes as parents, because the other day I was interacting with some of the young people I have home, and many of them 4 years, 5 years can easily access YouTube, right? They can easily go on the internet and look for cartoons to watch. But what kind of cartoons are these young people watching, right? What kind of movies are they accessing online? And that is my submission. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Hakim, for your submission. And, you're speaking about issues to deal with working with safe applications or systems that are really secure to just keep safe, but also have the right skills to work with the technology with you. We have Charles Ojira also as our participant, who notes that, of course, youth human rights organizations in Karamoja in particular face the worst ever internet in terms of internet in access due to poor internet connectivity, poor internet broadband connection, limited knowledge on online safety and security for a few who can afford connection devices. So these are quite some of the conversations. That's why we are here, be able to address them, but also standing to be the ambassadors to make sure these are much, much better. Now, back to you, Ida. You have another question. Looking at the recent occurrence with the unreliable internet access in Uganda, what do you think can be done to ensure a safe access using the available tools? And platforms. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joanne. I think I love that conversation already because most of the things that I really wanted to talk about here have been addressed by everyone before in the previous, conversation. And main concern here should be back and highlighted to digital literacy at all levels. Because often when you look at the number of women and girls represented in, these tech or STEM spaces, the representation is quite low. So the literacy, back to especially what Digital Literacy Initiative Uganda does, is to reskill and retool these minds as early as possible. The earlier, the better. So, and the more to interest girls and women is very key for us. And for me as a person who has been in this space for quite some time, I know what it means to have no one to look up to. I know what it means to, to be threatened by, because of your gender. I know what it means when someone, talks about how women are supposed to be, they use internet for only socialization. I find it very, very demeaning and a little bit very disrespectful when we are put in a particular box of rethinking on how useful the internet should be towards us and our development. So this whole technology progress and with a gender lens again, to bridge that gender digital divide gap, emphasis should be on digital literacy. I picked up some comment from, I think, Asia, when she said people bringing in bad manners online and everything. I wanted to give in my submission in a very different difference, in a sense that as Ida, I do advocate for internet behavior. For sure, I do believe, but for me, there is no justification whatsoever when it comes to internet shutdown, regardless, even if it's misinformation and disinformation or hate speech. This is not a matter, as much as Lillian was sharing with us, that is a collective and personal responsibility as well. We should also call on to these people not to victimize others just because maybe a group of people chose to do something, and it should be a punishment for the rest of the country or the rest of the world. For me, there is no justification for that. I just wanted to make that highlight. And also it should be very important. I like the fact that we are talking about the role of multi-stakeholder, model in such spaces when we are promoting usage and access to internet. So especially when it comes to us in Africa, and I'll speak on the base of Uganda, that our stakeholders, we do have to outline and have a very huge duty to ensure that there is favorable regulatory frameworks and business climate that can accommodate such issues when they arise. We shouldn't be sidelined when such decisions that are taking development at a shock, at a mercy, as if we are begging for such, because I do believe that much as we talk about human rights and everything, we are literally living online. So we need to be accorded our right to access digital platforms and digital use. So for me, that is what it is for now, but key emphasis on digital literaling and digital reskilling of young people or all people at whatever level. And to just make sure that we censor it at a sense of development, not to just look at the negativity, but the higher chances and the higher number of people that tap into these spaces for development of our country and our lives and women's life at large. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ida, for that answer. And I hope all participants have picked up the discussion. Now back to you, Patricia Nyasuna. How have social cultural factors affected women's access, use, and enjoyment of safer internet? And of course, what can be done to ensure a safer internet for these women and girls? Because we got a question from one of Charles Ojira that there is still a big challenge in the Karamoja region, people not being able, to have the right digital safety and security skills. So back to you, Patricia.
Thank you so much, Joanne. So on that issue again, I would like, for the issue of women and girls, I would like to go back to the inequalities that are brought about by unequal power relations which brings about the unequal distribution of resources. Now, when we look at issues like that, first of all, Uganda, as we all know, socioculturally, Uganda is a very religious country, and we also have diversity of cultures. Now, most of these cultures, in one way or another, they enforce the moral codes in the way we act, the things we do, how we talk, how we communicate. Now, for the issue of women and girls, especially online, there are so many issues. I think Ida spoke about STEM and how we encourage girls right from childhood to take up technologies, to be able to do a number of things using the internet and all that. It is very, very key, because as we grow up, because of our culture, some people do not have examples. Ida mentioned that, you see, it is very difficult to have someone, a lady, to look up to, someone who has made it in the digital world and things like that. So it is a very big challenge for women and girls. However, as times have been evolving, girls have been able to take up STEM, to be able to use the internet and to use it for the right purposes. Now, when I go back to the social cultural factors which affect women's access and use of a safer internet, it will somehow go back to patriarchy, and it will go back to issues like gender-based violence. We see it translate from physical violence to online, to the online space. Because she is a female, someone will feel like they have the right to probably put her in a certain corner and limit her to a given space. We've seen women try to, for example, WUCNET conducted a study on online tech-related violence during the COVID-19 pandemic. So we had a number of women talking about different issues that they have faced. For example, someone will say, well, I am a lady and I'm a programmer, but she will not say I'm a programmer. You know, she's going to say, I am a lady that is a programmer. So there are certain issues that stick just because of the way we have been socialized to see things as women and girls. So WUCNET is privileged to be a member of the community of practice under the Digital Human Rights Lab. And through this, we've been able to work with different organizations, different civil society organizations, to create awareness on issues online and build capacity of women and girls on online safety and digital security. During the 16 days of activism, for example, last year, we brought together different stories from young women and girls. There were testimonies, you know, and people were tweeting and they were sharing. It was able to, in one way, deconstruct some of the things that we perceive probably do not really happen. We choose to ignore them because of the way we have been socialized. But we've seen women who have faced violence online. We've seen people who have been scammed, people who have been made to make public apologies because of NCII, the non-consensual intimate imagery. Your pictures have been shared by someone. They do not care about that. They care about who is in the video, who is in the picture. So they say, for example, the case of Desire. So she's supposed to make a public apology to Uganda because of her pictures that got somewhere in a way that she, for example, may not know. So I feel like, apart from the roles that different stakeholders have already played, as we go back to our individual basis as internet users, we need to be very, very careful. I don't want to use care. Okay, careful may scare someone, but let's be vigilant while online. Be extremely vigilant. Who you speak to, who you share with, privacy terms. You go to a bank, or these days we do online banking, and then someone will see, well, sign this, put this account information. Think twice before you do certain things, because at the end of the day, you may give away something that you shouldn't have done. So we need to be more vigilant. We need to continue encouraging the uptake of STEM for women and girls, for girls, especially in school. We need to start from down. We build and we deconstruct many of these norms that are limiting women's use, access, learning, and being able to very well explore the internet. Thank you, Joanne.
Thank you so much, Patricia, for your answer. Now, back to you, Lillian Nalwoga. With your experience on working with the child protection, child online protection, for example, recently you were part of the campaign on the Stop It, dubbed help children be children as part of one of the safety measures. So my question to you is, as a country, do we have clear legal frameworks and policies to guide safer internet to all the users right here in our country? Thank you.
Thanks, Joanne. Before I respond to the question, maybe I need to throw some light on the campaign that you've just mentioned. The Internet Watch Foundation, which is a global, or it's a UK-based organization, is working around promoting or removing child inappropriate, or maybe let me just use the word child sexual images online. And this is a campaign that the Internet Society has been part of together with NITA Uganda, which started in 2016, I believe. So in 2015, we did do a quick survey, like a scoping study on the a review of different legislation on child online protection. And yeah, there's really no national strategy, I would say. There's really no policy framework that is targeting, child online protection, but there are mentions of child online protection in the Computer Misuse Act. I think it had also mentions in the anti-pornography law, which is now repealed. But the Stop It campaign, if I go back to that, is a campaign which I think is now, the actual wordings are help children be children by reporting child sex images on stopit.ug. So this, I think there are different stakeholders here in Uganda, like MTN Uganda has joined, the Ministry of Gender, of course, NITA, of course, from civil society, the Internet Society Uganda chapter is happy to be part of that. So this is something that we need to go into, to create more awareness about. However, before even we go to report, there are, I think, particular initiatives, or that we can take, and maybe part of that is now. I think I had, I don't remember who mentioned that, try to bring in teachers to be part of this conversation, because most of the times parents, even right now in the lockdown that, there's online schooling, at times parents are finding it hard to school their children and even, monitor what they're doing with their gadgets. So the work is still left to the teachers, the burden is left to teachers to do this work. So it is nice that whenever we're having this conversation, we bring in teachers. So I think to everyone on the call, I would really appreciate that we create more awareness about this initiative, because children every day are being groomed into, their predators there, their pedophiles there. So we need to be more vigilant. But in terms of policy frameworks, like I said, there's really no comprehensive child online protection framework for the country. And I think by having conversations like this is something that we should aspire to have. But I think the mentions on child online pornography go back into the Computer Misuse Act. I can't really cite the particular clause right now. Thanks, Joanne.
Thank you so much, Lydian. Now, back to you, Patricia. There is a concern in the chat from Francis Okiria that says there is a big concern on gender inclusiveness as mentioned by Ida, that we see women and girl child having challenges and accessibility to the internet. And often they are a victim of cyberbullying. Can we embrace culture? Can we embrace culture and other institutions to see that all the users can penetrate all the gender, both in the urban and rural setup? Back to you, Patricia.
Thank you so much, Joanne. So when I look at Francis's question, can we embrace culture and other institutions to see? I think he meant, how can we embrace culture and other institutions to see that issues can penetrate all gender, both in urban and in the rural setup? it goes back to working together. It goes back to us moving step by step to be able to actualize these issues, right from grooming, the way we are socialized in communities. We should be able to, in such discussions, for example, it is very good to entail or to invite, to bring to their interest issues like this, to bring to interest cultural leaders, to bring to interest different leaders that can speak about issues that can break or that can use these lines. So apart from just being able to include them in these in these forums or whenever we speak about these issues, it is very good to always real life experiences, being able to bring them to be able to actualize that these issues are okay, they are really happening, and the best way forward is by going down to start deconstructing one by one and being able to empower, encourage, and also be able to make the internet a space that is beautiful for women and girls to embrace. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Patricia, for that answer. We had another question. Was it a question or a comment? Ida, over to you for this. How can the youth human rights defenders and youth-led CSOs in the grassroots of Karamoja be accorded the same plane of internet connectivity and digital safety and security skills for a safer internet? In 2 minutes, if you could give us the answer. Thank you. Hello, do we have Ida on call?
Thank you so much. Joanne.
Hello, Ida,
hello?
Can you hear us? Yes.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, Haida, we can hear you.
I am. Joanne, do you think you can repeat for me that question, please? Me. Hello? I am struggling to hear. Can you hear me? Can someone rephrase for me the question one more time?
Oh, yes, sure. Ida, this is Norman. So the question was, there was a concern, an issue or a question that posted on the chat from Charles Ogira. Of course, not everyone in the country has the same internet connectivity. So he pointed out that human rights organizations and youth in Karamoja in particular do face a problem of internet connectivity. And even then, those who can afford the digital devices or the cost of internet do not have the necessary skills to conduct themselves or their businesses online. So the question was from Joanne that how can such organization or people from let's say remote areas like Karamoja be given the same opportunity in terms of internet connectivity? Or what work can be done to ensure that everyone is online? Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much for that question, Charles. I hear you because we as IdeaGen and Technology Initiative actually do address and want to work outside Kampala or urban areas, and our focus is mainly on peri-urban and rural areas. So in that regard, like what I said earlier on, since this is some conversation where this particular topic is about the role of multi-stakeholder model or engagement in such, in such spaces. So what I would think that is, since we are all here, or if this conversation goes outside beyond just this webinar, that we should emphasize advocacy and creating awareness of reskilling and retooling all people at all levels, not limiting people's capacities based on their location. And what can be done mainly, also including these internet service provider companies and organizations themselves, they should also be concerned about citizens engaged, actually benefit from it regardless of their basic or locations. That is what I would say in this regard, that we should push for conversations that engage also these internet service providers, that their customers are just beyond those that can only afford, but even accessibility and also their need in the play or in decisions to make sure the last mile man or last mile person can, you know, benefit from just using internet. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ida, for your answer. And Asia, in a minute, I would want you to tell us and give us your last word, the role of parents in keeping our children safe online in a minute. Thank you.
Thank you, Joan. I think the biggest role that parents need to play and actively, like seriously, try to do is nurture their children to understand how the online space works. It is here to stay, yeah? And just like how you potty train your child and train them how to relate with others, we also need the same for them to get those skills so that they can be able to participate online and be good online citizens. Build good habits, help them develop digital and social or emotional intelligence so that they can understand that just like at home, where they respect everybody in the homestead, where they empathize with everybody, and where they behave responsibly, it is the same that they need to take online. Yeah? So, in my opinion, without the parents really taking in time to try and make it as simple as possible for their children to understand how this works, what their responsibility is, how it can affect them, you know, if they do this, how that act can be viewed by other people and what responses they're likely to get. Now, on the bit of emotional intelligence, I think that's where we need, even as adults, yeah? Just like we are nurturing our children, we also need to build our emotional intelligence. The online space is open to everybody with their own opinions. And the way we respond, you know, should display some bit of maturity as parents, but as also as citizens of the world, yeah? So I think for me, that's what is most important for parents to do right now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Asia. Patricia Nyasuna, in a minute, can you give us a closing remark?
Oh, okay. Thank you, Joanne. One, I would like to appreciate everyone who registered to be part of this webinar, everyone who has made an effort to ask questions, to participate in any way. We are very grateful. I would like to say thank you to all the speakers. You have made very useful comments, and we pray that Joanne will be able to share the recording and the report with everyone so that we can continue to share information with different stakeholders to continue bringing everyone else on board. I would like to thank all the people that have facilitated this webinar to be able to take place, the Digital Human Rights Lab, and with support from GIZ and with support from Future Challenge. We are very, very grateful. I would like to pray that this doesn't stop here. We've had a very good interaction, and I pray that we continue to share back, take back information to different stakeholders, and be able to work together to promote a safer internet for women and girls. As we have said, it begins with you at a personal level. So together for a better internet. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Patricia. Hakim, back to you. Hakim Sebagala. In a minute, give us a closing remark on this Safer Internet Day in Uganda.
Well, thank you so very much, Joanne. One, I would like to thank you and the entire team for the great opportunity of inviting Smart Youth Network Initiatives to be on the panel. Secondly, I thank all the panelists that have managed to make it to date. I also thank all young people who have managed to be part of this. In a special way, we should thank God for the gift of life who has enabled us to participate in this. However, I pray that we have more of these engagements in the future, and we invite so many young people to be part of them and also extend them not only in Kampala, but also in the rest of the parts within Uganda. Thank you very much, Joanne, and the entire team.
Thank you, Hakim. Of course, I would also like to extend my many thanks to the Digital Human Rights Lab, a space for both virtual and physical in which human rights defenders come together to support each other's initiatives in strengthening and promoting human rights in a digitalized world, with, of course, support from the GIZ and the partners who are at the future challenges in this project. Well done to all our participants, to all of you that logged in, you spared your time. We say thank you, and asante nisana, the session is done. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne, for hosting us. I wish you a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you for those who have attended. I wish you a nice day.
Thanks for the presentation. I am purely satisfied with the discussions that went on.
Thank you, Rogers. Thank you for participating. You tell him, Norman, to get that recording. Hakim, thank you.
Oh yeah, I will get the recording, John.
You have not got static. No. What I'm reading about that. We want to listen to and I expect